Manipulation is everywhere, and most people don't even realize they're being played. From the coworker angling for a promotion to the smooth-talking salesman trying to upsell you, it's a minefield out there. Everyone wants something, and some are willing to use underhanded tactics to get it. While most fall for these tricks, Sigma males operate differently. They are incredibly observant and intuitive, making it difficult for manipulators to get the upper hand. They just have a knack for spotting patterns that others miss, making it nearly impossible to control them. Here are 8 ways Sigma males handle manipulators. Number 1. They play dumb when necessary. Sigma men have a clever trick up their sleeve when dealing with manipulators. They pretend to be clueless. It's not that they're actually dumb. They just act like it when it helps them out. When someone tries to trick them, Sigma men might play along, acting like they don't get what's happening. This throws many off balance. They're used to people either falling for their tricks or fighting back. However, a Sigma that seems totally oblivious is not what they expected. Acting dumb also allows these men to buy themselves some breathing room. They can watch and learn the manipulator's moves without raising any alarms. It's like they're spying on the enemy while the enemy thinks they're winning. This trick also helps them avoid getting into pointless arguments. Instead of calling out the person, they just sidestep the whole thing. Sometimes, the best way to win is to not look like you're trying to win at all. So they use naivety to actually stay in control. This doesn't mean Sigma men are pushovers. They're just smart about when to show their cards. They might play dumb now, only to reveal later that they knew what was going on all along. It's a tricky balance of looking harmless while actually being steps ahead. And it's something Sigma males are really good at, making them tough to fool, even for the sneakiest manipulators. Number 2. They expose lies immediately. Catching someone in a lie is like seeing a crack in a mirror. It's obvious and tells you something's very wrong. Sigma men don't let lies slide. If they hear something that doesn't add up, they call it out right away. This keeps things honest and straightforward, making it hard for anyone to pull the wool over their eyes. When a lie gets exposed, it's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, everything is clear. Sigma men practice this by always being alert. They listen closely and pay attention to the details. If someone's story changes or sounds fishy, they ask questions to get to the truth. It's not about being aggressive. It's about standing up for what's right. Imagine you're at school and a friend tells you a wild story about their weekend, but parts of it just don't make sense. Instead of just nodding along, Sigma men would say, "Wait a minute, how did that happen?" They make sure the facts are straight. This habit stops lies in their tracks and makes sure everyone knows not to mess with them. If something doesn't feel right in the workplace, Sigma men aren't afraid to dig deeper. They might ask for more details or double-check the information, so any hidden lies come to light. It's like a puzzle. If a piece doesn't fit, they keep working until they figure it out. Sigma men can't be fooled easily. They're like the friend who always knows when you're telling a fib. This skill doesn't just protect them. It helps create a more honest environment. People quickly learn that lies won't work with them. Number 3. They trust their gut feeling. Listening to your gut is like having a built-in radar for trouble. Sigma men always trust this inner voice when dealing with tricky people. It's that feeling in your stomach, the one that nags at you when something seems off. While most people might brush it aside, Sigma men know it's their instincts trying to tell them something important. Think about the last time you met someone, and something just felt wrong. Maybe they were too smooth, too ready to tell you what you wanted to hear. Sigma men pay attention to those signals. They know their gut feeling is like a warning sign flashing bright and clear. They don't ignore it or second-guess themselves. They take a step back and look at the situation more closely. It could be in a meeting, during a conversation, or just a casual chat. If something doesn't feel right, Sigma men notice. This gut feeling isn't about being paranoid. It's about being careful. While others might get caught up in smooth talk or fancy words, Sigma men focus on how they feel inside. And here's the best part. They act on it. If their gut tells them to be cautious, they become watchful. If it says to hold back, they don't rush in. This helps them sidestep potential issues before they grow bigger. Sigma men trust this gut reaction, knowing it often senses what their mind hasn't processed yet. This doesn't mean Sigma men are always looking for the negative. They're just smart about who they trust and how they handle tricky situations. Trusting their gut has saved them from trouble countless times without them even realizing it. Number 4. They ask lots of questions. Asking questions is a powerful tool against anyone trying to manipulate you. It puts the focus back on them and forces them to think about what they're doing. It's not about being nosy. It's about gathering information and exposing inconsistencies. When faced with a potential manipulator, Sigma men start probing. They ask for details, clarifications, and explanations. Each question peels back another layer of the manipulator's story or agenda. This tactic serves multiple purposes. First, it puts the person on the spot. They have to think on their feet, which increases the chances of them slipping up or contradicting themselves. Second, it shifts the power dynamic. By asking questions, they take control of the conversation. So those manipulators, who thought they were pulling the strings, suddenly find themselves on the defensive. These questions aren't random. They're strategic, designed to expose weak points in the manipulator's narrative. They might ask about details the manipulator skipped or for proof of bold claims. The beauty of this approach is its subtlety. To an outsider, it might just look like a curious conversation. But underneath, it's a calculated method of defense and information gathering. This questioning technique also buys time. While the manipulator is busy answering, Sigma men analyze the responses, looking for red flags or inconsistencies. Asking questions not only shows they're engaged and interested, but it also cleverly makes the manipulator let their guard down. They might reveal more than they intended, thinking they've hooked their target. By the end of the conversation, Sigma males have usually gathered enough information to see through the manipulation attempt. And they've done it all without raising suspicion or starting a confrontation. Number 5. They're patient and wait for manipulators to reveal themselves. When it comes to handling manipulators, one of the smartest moves that Sigma males make is simply being patient. They don't rush into things or make snap decisions. They just take their time, stay calm, and let manipulators reveal their true colors. These people often mess up because they rely on quick, sneaky moves to fool people. But Sigma men think several moves ahead. They patiently sit back and watch, knowing that given enough time, those who try to manipulate will eventually show their hand. This patience pays off because deceivers are not good at hiding their intentions for long. Sooner or later, the truth slips out. This waiting game has another advantage. Manipulators often become overconfident when they don't see immediate pushback. They think they've fooled the Sigma, and this makes them careless. But the Sigma man stays patient and acts like everything is normal, giving the manipulators more rope to hang themselves with. They're not rushing, so they can collect all the puzzle pieces and put together a clear picture of what's really going on. Patience also shows strength and confidence. While the manipulator is running around trying to pull their tricks, the Sigma male stands tall and calm. This unnerves the manipulator, who is used to causing panic and chaos. Being patient might not seem like a smart move in the moment, but it's a strategic play that gives Sigma men the upper hand in the long run. Number 6. They're saying no without explanation. A simple no can be a mighty word. It sets boundaries, stops others from taking advantage, and shows you're in charge of your own choices. However, when it comes to manipulators, a no followed by an explanation can open up the door for them to manipulate even more. Sigma men don't owe anyone explanations, especially not those who try to use their words against them. Over-explaining gives others room to argue or push their agenda, so they keep it short and sweet. When they decide something isn't right for them, they simply say no and leave it at that. This leaves little room for discussion and makes their stance clear. By skipping the explanations, Sigma men avoid getting caught up in pointless debates. Explanations can be seen as weaknesses that others might try to poke holes in. But with a simple no, they shut down any possible manipulation attempts before they even start. Of course, there are times when explanations are necessary, especially in professional settings. In these cases, Sigma men give concise and factual explanations without revealing too much personal information. Keeping things simple also saves time and energy. People will always find a way to twist their words, so there's no point in wasting energy trying to explain every little detail. Number 7. They simply walk away. Sometimes, the best way to deal with someone who's trying to mess with your head is to just walk away. It's like when you're playing a game and someone isn't following the rules. You leave because it's no fun anymore. Sigma men do the same. They don't waste time on people who don't respect their space or rules. While others might try to win an argument or prove a point, Sigma men aren't afraid to remove themselves from bad situations. They know their worth and won't stick around where they're not valued. It's not about being rude, it's about protecting your own peace. When things get toxic, they just pick up and leave. Let's say someone is trying to convince them to do something against their will. Instead of arguing or explaining why they won't do it, they simply walk away. This action speaks louder than words. They move on without causing a scene. Leaving doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing to spend energy on things that matter more. Even in professional settings, Sigma men know when to step back. If a work environment becomes too demanding or unfair, they start looking for better opportunities. It keeps their minds healthy and their future bright. They focus on their goals, not on proving themselves to people who don't care. Number 8. They set clear boundaries. Setting boundaries is like putting up a strong fence around your yard. It makes it clear what's your space and what's not. It's about being firm but fair and making sure everyone understands and respects your space and rules. Imagine you're playing a game, and all the players know the rules. That's what it's like when you set boundaries. It helps keep things clear and stops others from trying to bend the rules or take advantage of you. Sigma men are really good at this. They know that you need to speak up when something doesn't feel right and let others know what you won't tolerate. For instance, if someone's pushing you to do something you're not comfortable with, a Sigma man will simply say, "That's not something I'm into," or "I don't do that." It's direct, to the point, and leaves no room for misunderstanding. People can't try to sneak past your limits because they're clearly stated. Having clear boundaries also helps Sigma men avoid awkward or unwanted situations. By being upfront about what's okay and what's not, they keep things simple and straightforward. This doesn't mean they're being mean or difficult. They're just making sure their needs and comfort come first. And here's the thing. People usually respect you more when you have clear boundaries. It shows that you know what you stand for and aren't easily swayed. Sigma men don't hesitate to be clear about their limits, and this earns them respect and often makes others think twice before trying to mess with them.